Welcome to Red Eye. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Shillue. Let's check in with TV's Andy Levy at the Red Eye Tees deck. Andy.
Thanks, Tom. Coming up on the big show, President Trump says that he never wants to call a court biased. Political, sure. So-called, sure. But never biased. You got to draw a line. Plus, TV maker Vizio pays a $2.2 million fine after it was caught secretly monitoring your viewing habits and selling them to third parties. Alexa, tell my Vizio to stop spying on me. And finally, a survey from Match.com reveals millennial singles think it's okay to have sex before a first date, but not okay to text someone during a first date. Well, sure, texting is just rude. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you, Andy. Let's welcome our guests. She's more electric than a Tesla coil. Emmy award-winning tech expert Katie Linendoll. Whoa! You've seen him on... You've seen him on Three Men and a Chick Flick, which I would have watched if not for the chick flick and the three dudes talking. Comedian Ryan Reese. Pretty sure he played Mr. Green in the movie Clue. Reason Magazine editor-in-chief Matt Welch. And you can't spell Fela without L.A. fail. That's just an interesting bit of trivia.
Went with it.
Comedian Jimmy Fela.
Good to see you.
Okay, let's start the show. President Trump is denouncing the courts as so political as he waits for a federal appeals court in San Francisco to rule on his travel ban. On Wednesday, while speaking to a group of sheriffs and police chiefs, the president said his immigration order, his executive order, couldn't have been written more precisely.
You could be a lawyer, or you don't have to be a lawyer. If you were a good student in high school or a bad student in high school, you can understand this.
Trump began the speech by reading the provision that gives him the authority to order a travel ban.
Whenever the president finds that the entry of any alien or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may, by proclamation, and for such period as he shall deem necessary. Now, the only mistake is they should have said he or she. But hopefully it won't be a she for at least another 7 years. After that, I'm over.
What?
See? I just noticed that, actually. Just noticed it. I'm saying, whoa, this is not politically correct.
It's not politically correct, right? Here's more from Trump.
So I wanted to give like a month. Then I said, well, what about a week? They said, well, then you're going to have a whole pile of people, perhaps, with very evil intentions coming in before the restrictions. So there it is, folks. It's as plain as you can have it. I didn't, and I was a good student. I understand things. I comprehend very well. Okay? Better than, I think, almost anybody.
Bottom line, we want security.
We want security. One of the reasons I was elected was because of law and order and security. It's one of the reasons I was elected. Also, jobs and lots of other things.
Later in the day, Trump tweeted, big increase in traffic into our country from certain areas, while our people are far more vulnerable as we wait for what should be Easy D. His tweet confused some people. The editor of Talking Points memo asked, was Easy D East Coast or West Coast?
I thought that was funny.
That was, yeah, it's a rapping thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Easy D.
Yeah.
From the iconic rap group JWA, Judges with Attitudes.
Of course. Jimmy.
Straight out of appeals court. I don't know. I'm going with it.
Twitter's, it's a lot of fun. Twitter is it's just fun, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's not as fun as a confetti intro when you hire
that was good.
co-panelists.
And that, that cleaned up pretty quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, team player.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
It was
team
nice.
player.
And it was nice to see Ryan with glitter on his face the night before. I usually only see it the next day.
Hey, look, you know, they call me Easy D at night, so.
Well, you know what's funny about that? When I heard him say someone had an easy D, I thought he was referencing the Falcons in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's what I thought. But to your point, I'm sorry.
Easy D. Well, I took a calculus in college. I called it an easy D. Jimmy, what do you think of Trump here and his, he, like he says, he comprehends things better than anybody.
It is funny that he's starting to brag now on a Kim Jong-un level. It's now the best of all time. Tomorrow we're going to find out he got 18 holes in one in a row, But good on him for actually reading the ban. I don't mean reading it in public. I mean clearly reading it for the first time.
Yeah, totally.
Because he had so many issues, like, as he was going through it. But good on him, really, though, for getting the words in the ban out there, because they have been misrepresented at great length in the media. And people are running with an interpretation of this ban that isn't accurate to what's actually in there.
There it is. Let's talk about the legality of it. Matt Welch, this thing is totally legal, right? No standing in the courts to strike this down?
Right. So when he says this thing was totally clearly written, anyone can understand it.
Yeah.
His own lawyer, 15 hours previously, in front of a Ninth Circuit Court judge, said, I'm sorry, we did this in an awful hurry, so we're just trying to make the best of what we can with the language here.
He did seem like, to me,
Yes.
he seemed like a junior litigator, that guy. I mean, I didn't even watch the whole thing or hear. I'm listening to him talking.
A lot of people recused themselves, like, oh, sorry, I'm conflicted. It kept going down the ladder at the ladder at the Justice Department, but it was not very well written. Most lawyers I know who've read this document laugh out loud at how poorly and quickly it was done. We had an entire 48-hour period where we didn't know whether it affected 500,000 people who live in America under legal green cards. That's not a small thing. That's not like a little interpretation problem. That is 500,000 people in this country who have already been interviewed, who have already been thumbprinted, biometrically scanned, and the Trump administration said, over the objections of the Department of Homeland Security, by the way, said, no, it affects them. And then after 48 hours of outrage, like, no, let's say it doesn't affect them. So it wasn't clearly written. And that's part of the reason why it's vulnerable, even though the president has a huge amount of executive leeway to make this decision.
There you go. Wow, Ryan, what do you make of all this stuff? I don't even know what Matt just said there. But he seems pretty smart talking about this stuff.
It wasn't as clear as biometrically, obviously, and if someone could explain that to me, it'd be a huge help for the rest of the show.
I don't know.
I'm not going to help you.
It's Big Word Wednesday.
But essentially, Ryan, I mean, from what Trump was saying, he says, look, the president's allowed to do these things. They can't make me not do them, right?
And he says them just like that, too. We have the first president that's his own sign language interpreter.
Listen, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Listen, folks.
But he was talking,
it's so easy.
he was talking to law enforcement guys, and I think they were listening to what he was saying, right?
I think they were drunk. I think it was 9 in the morning. He painted the picture very clearly. He goes, you could have been a good student or a bad one. You could have been a federal agent or a sheriff. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. You think they were insulted by his bad student thing?
I don't know. I thought he was a little bit. It seemed like you might have been talking down to him a little bit.
That's the way Trump talks, though, Katie. He's a regular guy, right? And he says this couldn't be more simple. It couldn't be more clear. What do you think?
And that's what I'd like to touch on. I think it's rather refreshing. Instead of this very polished political approach that we've seen for so many decades, where every single tweet and every single message is clearly just coded so well and run through so many different layers of bureaucracy. Guess what? It's coming out of his mouth and you get what you get.
Yeah.
Colloquial or not, it's out of his mouth.
Yes.
Straight to the point.
No, that part is true.
Does it bother you, though, that he, people say, oh, he's attacking a judge, oh, the judiciary, it's so. The judges are generally very political now. We know where they stand. They say the reason that they're so liberal up there is so many of those judges were appointed by Jimmy Carter, et cetera. We all know where the liberals are, where the conservatives are. Why do we have to pretend that we don't?
No, that's the part that's annoying. I feel for him in this regard. He's fighting a war on terror. The people who oppose him are fighting a war on hurt feelings. You know what I mean? They're more concerned with not whether or not this ban protects us, but whether or not it upsets people in the act of trying to protect us. Well, I think the most Islamophobic statement in the world is people who go, the rhetoric in this ban is going to help ISIS recruit. What are you basically saying? The Muslims, if they don't like how you talk, they just start blowing stuff up. But, that's what that is. But that's what that sounds like to me.
But there's also the arguments of U.S. forces that are working in Iraq right now who say this just undercut them on the front lines of where we are fighting ISIS. This screwed us there. This isn't
very
about
safe over there until he spoke.
This is Club Med. If you got the bracelet, my brother-in-law's over there. My brother-in-law has the all-inclusive in Afghanistan. Oh, it was a delight.
Absolutely not a place pleasant situation, but we are fighting the war on terror in that front line. The people who are doing that in our name say that really screwed them. And that's worth listening to more than snowflakes.
Listen, we don't have time for you to repeat it, but if we did, I would want you to repeat it because it makes so much sense. It's Islamophobic to say that is going to make people blow things up. Moving on. During Jeff Sessions' confirmation hearings Wednesday, Massachusetts Senator and librarian lookalike Elizabeth Warren read a letter by Martin Luther King's widow criticizing Sessions. But before Warren could finish, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell revoked her speaking privileges, Little Mermaid style, invoking Rule 19. As we all know, Rule 19 prohibits senators from impugning one another. For instance, if I were a senator, I couldn't make that librarian crack about Elizabeth Warren. That would be against the rules. McConnell later explained why he silenced her.
She was warned. She was given an explanation. Nevertheless, she persisted.
Uh-oh. Old white man speaking critically about a woman. You know what this means. T-shirts. Yes, in no time flat. Senator Warren's lefty supporters embraced capitalism and started selling shirts and hats with the new feminist slogan. So far, sales are brisk, just shy of the top-selling Senator Larry Craig's "I Have a Wide Stance" T-shirt. Is that going back too far?
I liked it.
Yeah,
that's like pre-Red Eye.
Yeah.
But that's in it's in its third silk screening now. It's a very popular shirt. Matt Welch.
Why do you go with me after Larry Craig? I don't get that.
Well, everyone else does.
Look, don't be ashamed. There's a couple of guys on this panel that have a wide stance. I'll tell you that right now. But what do you think of this? Why is everything iconic? I mean, it was Senate rules. And all of a sudden, he's a major
you care about Senate rules. I know.
No, I want them to be rude to each other.
Exactly.
I don't even care.
We want them to be rude to each other. They should be ruder to each other. I mean, we're being rude to Jeff Sessions. Who cares? And the fact that this became all of Twitter for about, 4 hours last night, instead of the actual pretty good reasons to maybe oppose the Jeff Sessions nomination, which came through tonight, shows you not just how silly Mitch McConnell is, but particularly how silly Elizabeth Warren and her fans.
That's what I'm looking for.
Thank you.
Okay, so I get to say a bad thing about that once in a while around here. No, because why does that matter? This doesn't matter. Jeff Sessions is in favor of the government and cops being able to take your stuff without charging you for a crime. And he says the only people who complain about this are drug dealers. That's nonsense. He bragged about Donald Trump being in favor of executing the Central Park Five last year. He thought that was great last year. The Central Park Five are not guilty of the crime in which they're committed. There's a lot of very good reasons.
Do you ride mass transit in the city? I mean, thinning out the herd is still something I can get behind. Anybody in favor of thinning out mass transit, I can get behind.
Katie, this is about this. You can't say anything now to a woman without somebody making a T-shirt.
Well, and those T-shirts are probably going to sell like hotcakes because Make America Great sold out in November.
That's right.
They're on what? How many presses of that?
But that's about America. See, that's the thing. That's Make America Great
like
again.
Elizabeth Warren, though, the persistency is applauded in this day and age. Everybody just quits after you try something, you quit. Persistency is key here.
That's the thing.
I give her a hand for that.
You do. The thing is, it's.
I don't say I agree with it.
It just goes on, and like the sorry, not sorry. You know what I mean? It's the idea that somehow women are so put upon that if you say anything to them, then you're out of line.
Well, no, the oversensitivity has gone way too far.
Way too far.
In agreement there, and I can say that as a feminist too.
Yes.
I mean, listen,
Jimmy, I was going to go to you with a question, but I'll let you just jump right in here.
But do you notice that none of the people arguing that they should let her speak had to sit through the speech? Nobody wants to watch her speech. She's unbearable. Yes. Nobody wants to say that. Everyone's trying to now kind of align her with Coretta Scott King because she was reading Coretta Scott King.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot the part in the Coretta Scott King bio where she faked being Native American. Elizabeth Warren has a 46% approval rating in Massachusetts right now. Roger Goodell is more popular in New England right now than Elizabeth Warren. Shut up. I'm annoyed by her.
Okay, Ryan. Why was this such a brilliant move by Elizabeth Warren? There's only one answer. Go.
We love a slogan, and I'm with her. Oh, wait, no. Oh, no. Yeah, that didn't work, did it?
Because they pulled the microphone and gave her a megaphone.
I could just hear the
As
Alicia
written by
Keys
somebody
underneath
else.
it. You know?
Yeah.
With girl is on fire.
Elizabeth Warren.
Look, it is. Well, here's the reason I was thinking of. It's because she said, I want to read this. She knew she would get silenced, and then they would read that dumb letter on the news, which they did. It's in every paper today, and they say, this is the letter that you are not allowed to hear.
I read articles today saying, like, the Republicans shut down Coretta Scott King.
Yes.
No, they didn't. That's exactly what she did. She put that in motion so it would look like that. This is basically their whole strategy. It's basically to mischaracterize the actions of the other side and label them as like demonic or racist or whatever it is, sexist.
Of course.
And yeah, I saw right through it, Liz. Okay. You fooled the community college guy.
Moving on. Merriam-Webster's Twitter account has been taking subtle jabs at President Trump, which is why Trump today called them a failing dictionary. I'm kidding. Or am I? You never know.
We have no idea.
By this time tomorrow, it could happen. This week, Merriam-Webster introduced 1,000 new words and phrases like humble brag, face palm, and throw shade. I can't believe they're just getting to that one. They also brought back a formerly obsolete word. Their Twitter account explained that word, snollygoster, a shrewd and unprincipled person, especially an unprincipled politician. By the way, not included in their new words, subtweet. Merriam-Webster has trolled Trump in the past. They poked fun when he invented a word, unprecedented, in a missive about China. And they went after Kellyanne Conway for the phrase alternative facts. Clearly, Merriam-Webster has an anti-Trump bias, which may explain why their competitor, Dictionary.com, has adopted a new slogan. Yeah, pretty good, right? Ryan?
Yes.
What do you think? What's going on with Webster? I think that they're tarnishing their objective
I think
brand.
someone is just trying to troll Trump to justify their PhD in English from Berkeley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just going after anything, looking for any. Like you're not speaking to the people at this point. You're speaking above the people. And what I noticed is one word they didn't add is radical Islam. That's not in there.
It's not in there.
It's still not in there?
Not in there.
You did your research with the Webster people. Jimmy, look, the dictionary, it's for all the people. Why does Webster think they're just for the who are these? The elites?
Well, yeah, to Ryan's point, I don't think Trump is courting the dictionary reading crowd. Like, I think if Maxim magazine were to dump on him, he'd have a problem.
Yeah.
Because that's like more of his demo, I think, his little target demo. But these people just can't put it down for a minute. Like, they're helping him. Every day that they pick these little minute fights with him, I think it mobilizes people behind him more. They've managed to take a billionaire who lives in a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and make him the new punk rock. Because if you support Trump, it's kind of punk rock. You're kind of defying everything in convention in our society right now. I think they help him by doing this. That's all I'm saying.
Is Jimmy being inconsistent because he thinks that words don't cause terrorists, but words do cause people to vote Trump? Do you know what I'm saying?
I just think it's so annoying that they do that. Like, policing someone's spelling on Twitter. You know what I mean? 90% of the things you read on Twitter were written by someone on the toilet who was contending with autocorrect when they were typing.
Why doesn't he
In
do
fact,
autocorrect?
90% of things that we read on Twitter this year were written by Donald Trump on the toilet. Because everyone's retweeting them and reacting to them in a minute way.
He keeps his spell check off, though, doesn't he? He couldn't have it on.
Heroically.
It would correct unprecedented, but why would he do it? What's your theory?
I don't have a theory. I try. He is living rent-free in America's head right now.
Yes.
Everybody.
That is
I
a theory.
refuse to imagine his motivations. I can't get with someone who lives on, 5 blocks away from here in a guarded tower. That's just not my demo and never has been. He's East Coast. I'm West. I'm Easy D from back there or something like that. I don't get where he's coming from, so I don't try to figure it out. What I do like with the Merriam-Webster is that they taught me the word clacker, which I didn't know before.
What does it mean?
Clacker means someone who is brought to a public event to applaud. Like people at Donald Trump press conferences, 7 blocks.
It sounds British. How about some clackers? Katie, I get it. He doesn't get Trump because he's one of the elites. I get Trump. He speaks my language. Joe Sixpack, that's me.
And so do 48% of all Americans. So what's interesting to me is I'm fascinated to hear if you guys go into as many business meetings as I do, and brands or individuals like to lay out their political views, an assumption that everybody agrees with them. I think it's really audacious.
So you're hearing that in the boardrooms of America, you're saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely. As soon as you walk into a meeting, people are talking about it. It's like water cooler talk. It's like politics and religion. Like, when did this become, A, an assumption that everybody's going to agree with your stance, and B, Webster's Dictionary online on Twitter? Is it really a forum for you to...
It's not. We got to go, Jimmy. I know you want to make a point, but I'm not going to let you. Coming up, are you watching your TV or is your TV watching you? The answer to this not as dumb question as it sounds next. Vizio makes smart TVs. But how'd they get so smart? By watching you. But now Vizio's in trouble because, I don't know, I guess some people like privacy. They just had to settle a lawsuit with the FCC and the state of New Jersey for $2.2 million. The complaint? That the company built 11 million smart TVs that could capture second-by-second viewing information about what's on the screen. That includes details on content from cable, internet, set-top boxes, DVD players, and streaming devices. Seems pretty creepy, yes, but it's the kind of thing that Google and Apple do all the time, and no one seems to mind, except this guy right here. It seems people feel their TVs should be more private than their phones. But that's all changing rapidly as the line between handhelds and TVs is becoming non-existent. Why should TVs not be able to track you when your phone can? Or maybe the better question is, why do we let Google track so much of what we do if we don't want our TV doing it? I don't really mind any of this, and I don't really care if someone's collecting my data, as long as it makes my life easier. Of course, that could all change when something bad happens to me, but so far, so good. Matt Welch, I think I know what you think about this, but what do you think about this?
You know, I think we should let the market decide.
You do?
Tom,
Do you really?
No, I'm happy that they got punished. They deserve to, because you shouldn't collect people's information without them having any awareness of it, right? I'm also, like you, kind of surprised that they weren't doing it already and that everyone isn't already doing it. And the thing that pisses me off as someone who moved in apartments 7, 8 months ago is that the post office does this to you every time you move. They don't track your every movement, but they sell your information. They're a government monopoly, and then that's why you get all the IKEA things that are actually kind of
I didn't know that, Matt.
They totally do, and you cannot opt out because it's the post office.
That's unbelievable.
So there's no remedy like that. There is no FTC or FCC or anybody's. The ACC can't get in here and help you out with the post office. They will screw you.
Wow, Katie, I was on looking at this information all day. It's very fascinating to me. I assumed my cable company was already tracking me. They're not. They're not allowed to. But that law that makes cable companies not allowed to look at what you're watching, it doesn't apply to the TV.
Well, here's where it's a catch-22, because if you read what happened in terms of this settlement, FTC has made clear all smart TV makers should get people's consent before collecting and sharing television viewing information, and Vizio is now leading the way. That was a quote that came out of it.
Yes.
So it's like reading one of those credit card statements when you sign up for a new credit card. There's like 80 pages.
Yeah.
You're just going to agree to it anyways. So
Right.
how does that solve anything?
Well,
I don't
yeah.
think there should be any consent in the first place. And by the way, this is just the start of this. As somebody that's in the world of technology, everything is getting smarter. You're getting a smart fridge. You're getting a smart washer and dryer. Everything has a computer chip in it. So this is just the jump.
That's why people love the Vizio, because it talks to your Google devices. You see what I mean? You used to say, you know, like Andy made a joke, Alexa, turn on the... But Alexa does communicate well with the Vizio TVs. That's why people like it, and, you know, so maybe they're willing to give it up. What do you think?
No, I get it. This didn't freak me out. I wasn't bothered by them knowing what I watch on TV. If they were sharing my internet search history, I do leave the country tonight. Like, if that's in the article.
Well, somebody's finding that, right?
Yeah.
Someone can find that.
That's the bigger
Smart
problem.
TVs,
But you know where I think, like, some of this data is misleading? Like, to give you know, because they want to let them know what you're watching at what hours of the day and stuff. Like, to give you an example, Animal Planet. Most of the people tuned into Animal Planet aren't watching it. They put it on for their dog before they left the house. So like, yeah, all these people are watching Animal Planet. Nobody's watching Animal Planet. It's all dogs in front of sitting on couches.
Hey, that's rating Sue. We have a pretty good in the dog demo.
I have a question, actually. Because, all right, so if they're invading our privacy, right, and who benefits from the lawsuit? The state of New Jersey? They get the money. It doesn't go to the public that they're spying on. So where's my end? If I'm doing these focus groups for these people and they're going to watch me,
in theory,
do whatever I do in my house,
they're no longer stealing your soul anymore the way that they used
Or
to.
an argument that it's anonymously captured. They don't know it's specifically pinned to you in that case.
But
It's
why,
true, though.
why does the government get paid and not me? It's
I know,
like-
usually they split up the money. They say, hey, for class action, you get a little coupon. Okay, coming up, Halftime with TV's Andy Levy. And a brand new episode of the Red Eye Podcast is available now. You can subscribe on iTunes and on FoxNewsRadio.com. Welcome back. It's time to find out what we got wrong and what we missed from TV's Andy Levy at the Red Eye News Tech. Hey, Andy.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Good.
Excellent. Trump defends his immigration executive order. Tom, you showed Trump saying, I comprehend very well, better than I think almost anybody.
Yeah.
See, you thought you were electing Michael Corleone, and you got Fredo.
Yeah, that's right. I'm smart.
Yeah. Fela, you said good on Trump for getting the words of the ban out there because they've been misrepresented in the media. How so, sir?
Muslim ban. Specifically, I have issue with them calling it a Muslim ban because there's 43 predominantly Muslim nations that are allowed to come here.
Right.
But they're parading on as if this is all, there's only one motivation for governance now, and that's racism and hate. And I don't believe that to be the case.
Okay.
And again, good on him for reading it for the first time, because clearly he was.
That is fair. Also, though, he should tell people around him, like Rudy Giuliani, to stop calling it a Muslim
He
ban.
did say it. He blew it up right on TV, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just lost a complimentary round of golf at the Bedminster in New Jersey.
Yeah, definitely not helpful.
Yeah.
Matt, you pointed out how poorly written the executive order was. That's the thing. Trump's talking like everyone should comprehend it, but his own administration, as you pointed out, they said one thing and then another, like a day later. And the only thing I get from this is Trump kept saying, you know, even a not smart high school student could get this. I think he's saying his administration is filled with dumb people.
Yeah, I don't want to go there because that's uncharitable. But I've spoken to a lot of Iranian Americans over the last couple of weeks, people who have been conservative Republicans their whole life, who have left the party over this issue. These people who hate the mullahs are not remotely terrorists. They're more successful than you and I are, although that's admittedly a low bar.
Than you are.
Thank you. Yeah. But they can't believe it because it affects, and it's not just that they reversed the green card ban part of it. We still don't know. There are still people with green cards being pulled out of line in airports on occasion. So there's a lot of uncertainty around there among people who normally have gotten in line the right way, and they're pretty distraught about it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is, I think he's probably mostly right about the president having the power that the EO calls for. But I think if they'd taken a day or two to word everything a little better, he might be having an easier time of it now.
I've been surprised that they've had as much case as they have had. And partly it's because the wording was really bad, the lawyer wasn't particularly good, and the judges seemed to be inclined to listen to. Actually, I mean, we talk about the Muslim ban comment from Giuliani. That came up in the court case, as did the not insignificant fact that the guy who became president of the United States said, we're going to have a complete shutdown of all Muslims coming to the United States. So that tends to give people a sense that maybe he was motivated by that.
Well, that's the thing. And Trump may think it's an easy D, but the Ninth Circuit, they haven't ruled immediately, so they must think the D is hard.
Well, I mean, this has gone really fast in judicial time.
This is turning into $2.99 a minute to listen to, by the way.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
970 Levy.
The Nevertheless She Persisted shirt. Tom, what is Little Mermaid style? I don't know what that means.
You know, the Little Mermaid, because she was muted by the sea god or whatever.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. I have not seen the movie, so I didn't know what it meant. I was merely asking.
Is that possible?
Is what possible?
Andy not seeing a movie. That happens?
If it's a Little Mermaid, it's entirely possible.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have kids. I don't.
You got to read the
need
book
to watch those movies.
And plus, Little Mermaid's generally shown within 500 feet of a school, so that rules out Andy.
That's a fair point, I guess. Also, Matt, you said the Larry Craig wide stance thing was pre-Red Eye.
Yeah?
I can assure you it was not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it was Red Eye first year.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the days.
Free programming.
Yeah. Katie, you said these T-shirts are going to sell out like hotcakes.
Probably.
Well, apparently, from the stats, this shirt is now, it's the second best-selling shirt among young feminists. I believe we have a picture of the #1 bestseller. Can we put that up?
That's so true, too, because I bought one of those in every single size.
Right?
Those are great.
Right?
And also, I really respect that you used organic cotton, because they actually wear very well.
Please, when you woke, you use organic cotton. I believe that's actually the slogan of the organic cotton industry.
Learn something new every day.
Ryan, I haven't talked to you yet, have I?
No.
Ryan.
How the hell are you, man?
I'm well. Thanks for asking.
Good. All right, Katie. No, I'm kidding. I sort of think the Senate rule that McConnell invoked is stupid, but it is the rule, right?
Who are you talking to? Me or Katie?
You.
All right. Yeah, it is. He wasn't, like Jimmy's point earlier, he said that this was a setup, and her PR people clearly laid down the track work for them to look bad.
Yeah. We can all agree McConnell kind of blew it by shutting her up.
I don't think so, Andy.
Really?
You can't say anything?
Just from a PR perspective?
PR.
Yeah.
Pshaw.
There's no R in Pshaw.
No.
I went with it.
Yeah.
Yes, and.
All right. The Merriam-Webster stuff. Ryan, you said Merriam-Webster isn't speaking to the people with their anti-Trump stuff.
No.
Okay, but doesn't that go along with what Fela said about Trump not courting the dictionary reading crowd? If that's not their crowd, well, why do they care?
I think Trump should write his own dictionary. I think it would be the best-selling book ever.
By the way, Tom, regarding Snollygoster,
Yeah.
according to Merriam-Webster, not only does Trump have nothing to do with them bringing that quote back, do you know why they say they brought it back?
Why?
Bill O'Reilly's love for the word.
Oh, really? Was it word of the day?
He apparently uses that word a lot, and that made them bring it back into the dictionary.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a Poppin' Jay.
So how about that? Oh, that movie sucked. That was a Mockingjay joke. Oh. Yeah. I never saw that. I actually never saw that either. Matt, you said Trump is living rent-free in America's head right now. Yeah, I don't follow him on Twitter, but somehow I see every single one of his tweets hundreds of times.
It's impossible not to. I want people to stop it. I want them also to stop RTing the first news story that they see tweeted out that proves the thing that they've always believed about Donald Trump.
Right.
Because that is retracted by math or science every 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
It just happens.
Yeah. Another person who I don't follow is Richard Spencer, and for some reason I keep seeing his tweets. Maybe stop retweeting Nazis. The Vizio stuff. Matt, you said you're happy Vizio got punished, but you're surprised that everyone else isn't doing what they were doing. They are.
Oh, okay.
They absolutely are. There's an argument to be made that from a privacy perspective, you are now better off using Vizio because they're being forced to be transparent, and they're being forced to make it an opt-out or an opt-in situation where you have to opt into it, whereas some of the other companies, you don't have to opt in.
That's a great point. Thank you for informing me.
Yeah. And just lastly, Ryan, you asked why the government is getting paid and not you, which is a fair question. I think the answer is because it wasn't a class action lawsuit. It was, so the payment is strictly punitive.
Hey, all right. Well, at least the money's going to a good place, right?
No, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Slush fund in Nicaragua.
Absolutely. I am done.
Thank you, Andy.
Yep.
Coming up, what do millennials look for in a date? The story Jimmy seems way too excited for after the break. But first, Kennedy. What's this? File video of couples holding hands? Must be a story about romance and dating. According to a new Match.com survey, most millennials are fine with sex before the first date. What? Not when I was in college. But what's not okay with these singles? A cracked phone. 95% of men and 98% of women say they negatively judge someone if their screen is busted. In fact, phones factor in a lot in dating. Match's scientific advisor notes, singles don't like people who have a cracked phone, an old phone, or those who use a clicking sound when typing. That is kind of annoying, isn't it? Katie, story's over. We can talk.
I know. It's like my phone's...
Is your phone cracked?
Yeah. But I actually had it fixed.
from here.
I paid $1,000 to get this stupid thing fixed.
You got two phones?
Well, I wouldn't call it stupid. It's like my most important piece of technology. But it is cracked.
If you are on a date, what's another thing that annoys people is answering the phone without giving an excuse, like I have to take this call.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly rude. I was actually more surprised to see that statistic that 48% are more likely to have sex with millennials before a first date.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Before?
Am I old-fashioned? What do you like? Why are you guys looking at me like that?
No, I'm trying to figure out the physics of having sex before a date.
That's the thing. This is what happens. They go in right to the sex. They don't even have, first of all, they never have dinner. They don't go to dinner. The restaurants are all closing because of the millennials. Matt?
All I know is that not like, well, actually, no, this is pretty bad, actually, when there's no crap on it.
Oh, I see it now.
You can see the spider web stuff.
That's rough.
It's a doozy.
Do you know what this tells you? And this is evolutionary psychology here. This tells you, although that's maybe not true in this case, I mean to assume, but generally speaking, if you have a spiderweb iPhone, you've got a kid. You've got a 2-year-old who's like grabbing this and drop the iPhone. That's why it's cracked. Usually, maybe someone's klutzy otherwise, and so it's just an evolutionary response.
I read that a totally different way. I see a girl with a cracked phone. I'm like, she stays out all night and makes bad decisions.
I read that as irresponsible.
I'm lonely.
Interesting.
Ryan's looking for crack foams. He hangs out at the screen repair store with a bouquet.
Yeah. But Jimmy, I think I can't figure out with the
millennial thing.
Yes, I can't figure out what's going on with this.
They don't have jobs. That's why they're not going out to dinner first. They want to go out to dinner first. They're going to hit their parents up for money. It's more efficient to just let's meet up and shag. That's all they want to do anyway now. I just feel like it's more efficient. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But what's scary to me about the cracked phone, and I think the reason it's a turn off to people, is the phone is like your home now. You know, everyone kind of lives in their phone.
Yes.
And I think when you see a cracked screen, in some instances, like you're well put together, so it really isn't reflecting on you.
I have a good answer for my cracked screen.
But there are people, you know, it's like, have you ever seen a house that's missing the screen door?
Yeah.
It kind of has that kind of unkempt feel when you see a smashed phone, and I think that's what freaks people out in a dating capacity.
Yeah, they think they're not together.
They're
they
not
don't
taking care of stuff.
I get it. I was at a bar, and some guy was talking to me, some jerk. He's like, blah, 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 blah. He's just talking to me. So, so I start looking at my phone, and he says, no, hey, and I said, no, you be more exciting. You're boring. I can look at my phone. You have to be better.
You're
coming up. What business does produce have? Doing at a butcher's counter? The oxymoron is next. Coming up tomorrow on the next Red Eye, Bill McMorris, Jessica Tarlov, Lachlan Markey, and Greg Johnson. A new Whole Foods in New York City is offering a special service for lazy people. There's a produce butcher who will cut up fruits and veggies for you. Yes, an employee will cut, slice, dice, julienne, chop, and grate any produce item for $1 per pound or item, depending on the item. This shopper was so excited, he was practically breathless.
I am not the greatest at cutting eggplant. It's like one of my biggest downfalls in produce.
Oh, there are bigger downfalls in produce. Believe me. Katie, would you use this service?
This is so dysfunctional to me. First off, let's start with Whole Foods. If that guy, we were just talking about relationships in the last segment.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to have your heirloom tomatoes minced for you,
yeah,
like you've officially lost your man card. Like, that is a non-negotiable resume bullet right there. Like, if I saw a friend or an associate or a family member heading towards the produce butcher,
yeah,
no deal.
It's just convenient. You're saving time. He wants to go home and just like put him in the wok or whatever he does with him.
No.
No defense?
No defense.
Ryan, you don't eat vegetables.
I was going to say, the only lettuce I have comes on a cheeseburger, so I'm not, I'm like, how would that work for me? Yeah, I don't get it. They just have expendable money. By the way, that guy, his father's got to watch that. I feel like that's my son, the one who's afraid of eggplant.
Yeah.
The one, my biggest downfall as a human is I can't cut an eggplant. No, you have bigger disappointments.
You put him on the spot, though. I mean, I'm sure he was thinking, like, to tell you the truth, I don't eat eggplant, but I'm not sure how you're supposed to cut it.
I don't understand. Buy the magic bullet.
What?
You know what the magic bullet is? That stupid
true.
infomercial that you throw your vegetables in and you grind them
Does
down
everything,
in like 8 seconds. Does that thing suck? Is it hard to click? What is it doing wrong that there's a market for this? I don't understand. I don't understand why there's a market for this.
They don't want to get anything messy. I understand convenience, don't you, Matt?
This is why New York is the greatest capitalistic city on the planet. There's markets for absolutely everything, including cutting that dudes.
Yeah, because up until now, you had to go to the black market for this.
Yeah,
you had to be over on West End Avenue. Hey, can you cut my carrots? You're not a cop, are you? We've all been there.
Remember when that meant drugs?
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you cut some lettuce for me?
Yeah, can you
what kind of lettuce you want?
It was a different time.
Mexican?
Years ago, though, they said the same thing about the butcher. They were like, cut up your own animal, right? But then, then you depend on them. Okay, we got to go. Very special thanks. Katie Linendahl, Ryan Reese, Matt Welch, and Jimmy Fela. That does it for me, Tom Shillue. I'll see you next time. And I'll say goodnight. We have 4 seconds left.